Well, welcome to the Money Tip Podcast presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I am fired up on this Monday. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Megan Hibbert. Are you fired up?
Yes.
Yes. It's the answer always. Must be fired up.
Yeah.
Today, we've been doing a little longer extended version of the podcast.
Yeah.
A little longer than 10 minutes.
Fun.
Yeah, because we're diving into deeper ideas. And today, we're talking about one of my favorite topics.
Yeah. Today we are talking about passive income ideas. So how to make money while you sleep.
In other words, around here we call them oxen.
Mm.
It's a very moving thing to talk about. Have you heard about it? It's utterly amazing, and that's no bull. So we're trying to milk it today on how to make money while you sleep, passive income. And so imagine earning money 24/7. Even while you're sleeping, that checks show up in the mailbox, money gets deposited in your account. And as you know, the definition of passive income, we always like to define things. What is the definition of it?
All right. So income earned with little to no daily effort after the initial setup.
Yes. So it takes time and effort to do that setup, to establish, but it can create financial freedom.
Who doesn't want that?
We call that a fully funded life.
Mm-hmm.
And it really matters because it provides financial security, especially in your later years of life.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you know this, but Father Time is undefeated.
Unfortunately.
And we do things that wears our body out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I run races and I'm confident I'm wearing out my knees. Confident. The older I get, the more I think that's true.
Yeah.
And I've got, there's a day where I may not be able to run. And in the same way, there's this thing where there may be a day you can no longer work. And if the only way you produce income is by trading your time, energy, and effort for a paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
that may be taken away from you because sometimes our body decides to fail on us anyhow. It betrays us.
Mm.
And sometimes we don't get advance notice. Sometimes it happens earlier than we would have expected.
Right.
And it's unfair. Fair is only a place where we ride rides. Life is not fair.
Yeah.
And so passive income provides that financial security where it can give you multiple income streams that don't rely on you producing income from a single job.
Mm-hmm.
That's really important.
Yep. The next one for why passive income matters. Why passive income matters. I just mixed those words together.
Passive income matters. Let's make an S on everything.
It's wealth building. So compounds over time, helping you achieve long-term goals. This keyword, faster.
That's right. And wealth building speeds you up to a fully funded life.
Yep.
Oxen. We're talking about investments. We're talking about things that produce income while you sleep.
Yep.
And that gives you freedom and flexibility.
Yep.
It gives you more time for what matters the most in your life. And if you think about most retirees, if they are not working a job, they have passive income. Social Security can be one,
Mm-hmm.
right? A pension,
Mm-hmm.
right? So a lot of people, when they're in their working years, they look at me like, to borrow a phrase from The Christmas Story, one of the greatest Christmas movies ever written, which I will watch in all seasons, including now, even though Christmas is a ways away, because, they look at me like lobsters are coming out of my ears. And it's like, I love that when he says that.
I'm picturing lobsters coming out of your ears.
It's a great line.
Wild thing to think.
And it's like, what? But the reality is there are tens of millions of people living with this.
Yeah.
And you need it too.
Yeah.
And so there are different types of passive income. You want to share a couple?
Yeah, so we can break it into some categories maybe. Okay, so the first one, investment-based. So requires financial capital up front.
Right, you put money into an investment. This is where you're putting money into a 401k, and therefore that money, that's capital.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting that into the investment, and then it can produce income how? Through dividends. It can also produce income by growth in value of that particular stock.
Yeah.
Or of that stock-based mutual fund or ETF.
Yep. Another one might be asset creation. So requires some time and effort up front, but maybe once the initial time and effort is over, you can continue maybe selling something.
What is an asset that you could create? Well, you could commission a rental house to be built, right? And so that is an asset that could produce income in the future.
Yep.
And then, of course, you can leverage your existing assets. What does that mean? It means monetizing what you already have. So this could be as simple as renting out a room in your house.
Yeah.
Which is also known as house hacking now. Did you know that?
I did.
The young people
Those
tell
young,
me
those
tell me
young
that.
people.
I mean, you can stay young by listening to your young adult children. And I have a young adult child. And she's house hacked before, where she rented out all the rooms in her house.
There you go.
Including her living room. That's monetizing what you already have. And so you can get passive income probably right now.
Yeah.
So, now, whether or not you choose to and whether or not you should are different questions.
That is true.
But we're thinking about ways that you could, not that you should.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe one of those caught your fancy. So we're going to break them down a little bit more. So the investment-based ideas. So maybe the first one might be like a dividend stocks. So you earn income from owning shares in companies.
Right. And a lot of people produce income this way.
Yeah.
So-called blue chip stocks that have become enormously profitable. And they have made a determination that the money that they're producing in profits, they don't really have a place they could redeploy it that they feel like would produce a better return for their owners, their shareholders. So they return it to their shareholders saying, you figure out what to do with it. We've got enough money besides that to fund our ongoing operations.
Yeah.
So that's a great way, dividend stocks.
Yep. You mentioned this one, maybe a real estate rentals. So you generate monthly rent from properties that you own.
Yeah, and this can be single family. It could be apartments, duplex. It can also be commercial buildings. It can be land. I mean, all over the Midwest, people rent out their land to farmers. And they rent it, they grow crops on it, and they produce income from it. You could do it through a REIT, also known as a real estate investment trust, REIT. And you could invest in real estate without actually owning the property. And check out one, Duke Realty REIT. DRE is their stock ticker symbol. They're actually traded publicly. They have raised capital by selling ownership in the trust. And then they've went and bought lots of commercial property with it. And as they collect rents on those properties, well, then the shareholders benefit.
Interesting.
So that's a really interesting way of owning real estate without owning the property itself.
This next one's a little tricky. It's peer-to-peer lending. So earn interest by lending money to individuals or businesses. The businesses, I understand. The individuals could get a little...
Yeah. And there's actually peer-to-peer lending networks. And I'm going to look at one. I remember back in the day, Prosper was one of the ones, and it still works. So you can do Prosper loans, which is personal loans, and you can see people's credit scores or whatever, and you can help sub-fund a bigger borrowing. So you can check it out at prosper.com. People do this way.
That's
and I
better
think that's amazing.
In my head, when I first read it, when I was looking over the notes, I was like, I picture just like,
no,
I'm going to start lending money to Mary.
No. Listen,
you know,
I will tell you right now, I've counseled a lot of people that have made a pile of money doing peer-to-peer lending.
But having an organization
people
like that,
you know.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'll tell you, they do it. They have a formalized agreement, and they lend it. And I've seen this happen and be very successful. Of course, you want to have clear contracts.
Yes.
But they have formalized it through places like prosper.com.
That
makes you feel better.
Makes me feel better.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
And we're all about making Megan Hibbard feel better. All right. Another way is a high yield savings or CD. These are safe. They're low return. They're passive income options. But listen, I have a friend. Actually, I'm going to restate it. An acquaintance. Okay. Built a very successful business. Recently sold it. I don't know the sales price, but I think it wouldn't surprise me if it was $20 million. So it was a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that business, think about that. You net $20 million. If you can put that in CDs or high yield savings that's earning 5%. 5% on $20 million. Well, that's $1 million a year. Passive income. Is that pretty good?
I need to start a business that can make me.
I was doing that math with my bride, and I was like, wow. Why would you ever take any risk? And a lot of people who end up selling a business actually will lock in a substantial part of it in guaranteed sources. And they really don't have to put it at risk because
Yeah.
they don't need to.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be 83,333.33, 83,000 a month in interest alone. Pretty amazing. You have to work hard to spend that per month. I mean, I haven't had the opportunity to try it, but I think we should all try that.
I would like to.
Yeah. All right. So we should try that. You start a business. You start a business. You sell it for $20 million.
And my buku's of free time.
You get paid the 5%, and then I will see if I can spend the 333 a month.
You're gonna have to pray about it.
She's committing it to prayer, y'all.
Oh.
All right, so let's talk about different ways people have done this. Just some ideas. These are just ideas, right?
Yep.
One of them is a digital product.
So
You can create ebooks,
Yep.
online courses, printables.
Asset creation ideas.
Yeah, they're asset creation ideas. Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
So you make digital products. I mean, those are copyrighted in the United States. That's great. What else could you do?
Yep. So maybe affiliate marketing. So maybe earning commission on promoting products or services.
I mean, this is what social media is right now.
A lot
That's
of
what
people
it is.
make
Yeah.
lots of money.
Which leads us to that. You could do a YouTube channel or podcast, or can we just say TikTok or, Snapchat, whatever it is. I have another acquaintance who started a TikTok channel that went bananas. And he is making in a month what he used to make in a year.
Oh,
and
wow.
he's done that now for 3 years. Pretty good. Okay.
Very good.
Now, meanwhile, we get 5 views, every now and then on our podcast.
Oh my gosh.
That
is not true.
All we share is life-changing financial information that help you live a fully funded life. And what I found is we should have our cats meowing it. Because if we had cats meowing it, we'd be viral. Cat finance.
Did you get a new cat?
Meowie finance. I have a new mini.
Yeah. You could bring your cat in next time.
Yeah. Do you know what her name is?
I don't remember.
Socks.
Socks. That's a good name for a cat.
Socks. She has 4 white paws, and she I'm gonna stop for a second talking about my cat. Thanks for bringing it up. But my cat, she does not like to be held at long periods of time. She wants to know what's going on. She's a little bit of a scaredy cat. Have you ever heard that?
I have.
Yep. So let's list a couple others. You could blog and sell ads, sponsorships, affiliate links. Our friend Brian Dodd, brian.online.com, Brian.onleadership.
I was like,
there we go. BDOL is what we call it. Mobile apps. You can create an app.
Yep.
Yeah, but here's the tip. Focus on creating something that aligns with your passions or expertise, because then you'll stick with it.
Yeah, that's huge.
Now, let's talk about leveraging existing assets.
Yep. So maybe you rent out a property or a space. You could use a platform like Airbnb or
Oh, yeah.
VRBO.
I mean, we all are on the consumer side of that. You've done it. I've done that.
Oh, yeah.
We've done it with our company meetings. We rent out Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Way better than a hotel.
You can maybe car rentals. This one's interesting to me. So monetize your car through services like Turo.
Yeah, I heard about Turo about 5 years ago. My brother-in-law was in town from Colorado Springs, and he wanted to try out a car, and he had found one that he could rent on Turo. And so he met the person and took their car and drove away. And you can rent out your car.
That's wild.
Hey, by the way, this is going to happen big time with Tesla. Think about this. If you own a Tesla and they allow this autonomous driving, you can drive to work and then rent your car out for taxi cab because it doesn't need a driver. And it's making money for you all the time you're at work. And it will be back here at 5 p.m. and it'll show back up, 5 p.m., drive you home. And watch this. It drops you off. You don't need it. You can have it doing Uber. You can have it doing all that stuff at night, all night.
Would you get in a car and would you get in a Tesla that does not have a driver?
Yeah.
You would. That's wild. I saw a video of
it's almost the same as getting in a plane. I don't see them. Maybe they're invisible.
There are 2 pilots at least up there.
Yeah, but the U.S. has been flying drones from the United States all around the world.
There's not a person in the drone.
There will be. Why wouldn't there be? So you could sell stock photos. You could license your music. You could license other skills like painting. But consider what assets you already own and how it could generate income. There you go.
All right. Maybe some steps to get started. So maybe evaluate your resources. So time, skills, capital. Pick a strategy. So what are you going to focus on? Maybe start with one passive income idea to get started.
Yeah.
Don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, that's right. I'll go back to that and say, I think I saw Tyler Perry being interviewed once, and Tyler Perry, now a movie mogul, all that stuff.
Yep.
Back in the day, he was homeless, living in his car, and he was working on a play. And it's what formed the Medea character. And somebody asked him, how did you get where you're at? And he said, it was simple. I focused on only one thing. And he said, I had lots of interest, but I focused on making one thing really, really great. And that produced the resources and the relationships that allowed me to start expanding later. And I think that's really important. A lot of us, we're like, hey, let's throw it all at the wall and see what sticks. And then we'll figure it out. But it rarely works. It's much better to focus. Set a goal, set a deadline, and set some milestones for creating that income stream. And then, of course, learn and optimize. If it doesn't work, you've got to be willing to eject. You've got to get out if it's not working within a set amount of time. What are some of the biggest myths and challenges people have about passive income?
Yeah, so myth maybe passive income is completely hands-off, which is not, I mean, I can't imagine any of those things you talked about.
None of those things are completely hands-off.
Set it and forget it. I mean, it's not, you gotta.
So listen, at the very minimum, every passive income play starts with work up front.
Right.
I mean, you've got to evaluate the deal. You've got to be patient to find the right deal. You've got to be willing to say no. And almost always it requires some assumption of risk. I don't know of any investment that produces passive income for me that did not come with some of that weird feeling of risk.
Yeah.
But you have to overcome it. You have to be persistent, and you have to have a willingness to learn. As Dr. John Maxwell says, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, right? And that's really good.
Yep.
So here's the call to action. We want to challenge each of you to think through one passive income idea. Do it today and commit to researching it, or maybe even starting it within this week. And we would love for you to share with us what that idea is. Now, I know immediately like, oh, but somebody will steal my idea. Somebody will patent it. Somebody will trademark it. They'll steal my idea. Well, don't share your patentable idea with us, but share in general what you're attempting to do, what you're wanting to do, and then we'll celebrate with you. And at Fully Funded Life, we have additional resources and tools to help you be able to get started. I mean, ultimately, when we define a fully funded life, it requires passive income.
Yeah.
And the rungs 3, 6, and 8 are all about building the capital so that you can have that.
Yeah.
And so tell everybody, why should they join Fully Funded Life?
Yeah, I think this area specifically, there's so many directions that you could go. I mean, we just listed off a ton of different options. And surely, I mean, I think one of them probably struck something like a chord with you where you're thinking, oh, that is kind of interesting to me. Like, I want to pursue that a little bit more. But maybe you don't know what your next step is or how to get started. Well, at Fully Funded Life, we have a coach that could meet with you and talk through financial implications of,
and our coaches have passive income.
Yeah, of what it could mean, next steps, maybe experiences they've had, of how they've done this, and they can help, create a budget that would work, create, steps that you can take and that kind of stuff. But the financial coaching aspect of this is huge when you're considering passive income, because it's not just, oh, I'm just starting this thing. It's a money decision, huge money decision as well, because like we said, they require upfront initial effort, and a lot of them cost.
Yes. The hardest deal is the first deal.
Yeah.
Always. What is the hardest stock to buy? The first one. What is the hardest home to buy? Your first one. What's the hardest rental house to buy? Your first one.
Yeah.
So get started. You can do this. The best time to start, of course, was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. So get fired up, and you can win with your money and live your life fully funded. We hope you'll join our community, fullyfunded.life. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you've gotten value from this, and I believe you have, click that subscribe button, click that thumbs up, leave a comment, share it with somebody. We want to make sure that this community grows so that we can all, together, live fully funded lives. Thanks for being a part of our family.